All right, local swell trackers, happy Aloha Friday, getting ready for President's Day weekend. We're going back here on the jet stream just to take a look at those large upper air currents, about 30,000 feet up there in the air. They do affect circulations down at the surface. Up here in the North Pac, here's Hawaii right about here, and there's that big blue high pressure going counterclockwise and acting as a blocker. That's right, you can see that split right here in the jet off to our northwest. It's trying to come off Japan, but has been having trouble bringing the classic big stuff that we see. It does push against it, and it has led to some troughiness over the islands. We do have some weather on the way. I'll get to that. And you can see how it noses down towards Hawaii, starts to begin to bounce up towards the central Aleutians and dissipating. But you can see this big loop right here at the surface brings some good sized waves. And I'm going to show you that as well, but I just wanted to show you the influence of these. The storms are not actually in this upper air current that you see with the purple blobs. That's not down at the surface, and I'll show you how that works here in a second. But take a look late in the forecast, the size of that high pressure area. We got some high northeast trade wind swell coming Monday and Tuesday, and that's sort of the culprit right there. Down under, you can see some of the zonal flow focused down under here, and you see it's very weak, not much going on. A lot of the blues is very typical for this time of year. Off and on we get a little bit of juice, but there is nothing really at the surface from these upper air currents here. We do see later in the forecast one Tasman sea source right from this portion, and we'll keep you dialed in on that. All right, taking a look at the surface winds thanks to storm surf, and up here centered over Kamchatka there is a storm. Now these are the surface wind speeds. You can see this big loop here pointing up straight up into the Bering Sea. We're not really seeing much from that, but this guy over here is the reason why Friday ramped up a little bit, 2 to 3 plus today. Rolling out the animations, you see that does end up weakening here by Wednesday. That was Monday, Tuesday. And then we get a little guy here kind of tracking northeast into the central Aleutians again. A little bit stronger winds, a little bit more of a compact storm at the 180 date line right here. It's about 1,200 miles away from us over here. And that is expected to bring up some short period 12-second north-northwest swell for Sunday. And let's give it 2 to 4, maybe 5 feet there. And we are going to have some weather, though, due to all the activity that I'll get to shortly. Here comes the next system. This one is off the Kuril Islands, Thursday the 15th, Valentine's Day through the end of this work week today. We do have some 45-knot pockets in this spinner. And let me get to the current surface winds. All right, so here we are, Thursday, Friday. The track is not great. It's centered right here, moving right up into the western Aleutians, into the Bering Sea, but we still had a decent fetch. Reversing this a little bit, it is moving our way for a portion, and I'll show you the swells produced by those surface winds shortly. But I want to show you the beast of them all for this 10-day forecast period. Look at the size of those surface winds. This is Sunday. This is the 18th. Is moving our way. Now this system does end up tracking east-northeast away from us and weakening by the time it hits the dateline Monday the 19th, but not before. 22-second forerunners Tuesday be cranking out with long period juicy west-northwest waves. Now the only problem was the fact that some of this was so west, a portion will be shadowed. Continuing on the animations, after this big one, we're not going to see much. This guy was tracking the wrong way. Might see a little something rideable there, but we really are going into a slower period. Take a look at that high pressure, though, in the long haul. This is Thursday, the 22nd. We are going to have some high wind swell once again, and that high pressure is staying put, and it is acting as a blocker. All right, now we're taking a look at the swells in the open ocean produced by those surface winds we were just looking at. So here's this guy off of Kamchatka. This is the one for the Friday swell. This is going back and looking at what things look like on Monday the 12th. Here's that blocking ridge here, and you can see what it's doing to these storms. We'll keep going with the animations and see how that thing spreads out. It lost a lot of juice through Wednesday, and then we get this little guy right here for that north-northwest swell on Sunday into Monday for the Buffalo Big Board Surfing Classic. We will be having some weather at that, and then here comes the next swell. This one pops off Valentine's through Saturday, and that'll bump us up on Monday to about 4 to 6 feet, and it should be hopefully up to 7 feet west-northwest with some leftover 5 to 6, maybe 7 footers at Sunset Beach on the 20th, which is Tuesday, from that storm there. And then we'll get to the really big one. Take a look at that. Those are 50-foot seas right there in the center. Plenty of 45-foot seas. Very powerful storm with hurricane force winds. Thus the 22-second forerunners Tuesday projected to be 6 feet 18 seconds at 8 a.m. on Wednesday morning, the 21st. And it does end up, as it hits the 180 dateline, weakened and lifting up into the central Aleutians. But not before sending out some really long-lasting fun swell. We should be looking at least 3 days of overhead waves, and this thing could peak out at 10 feet Wednesday and even Thursday morning. All right, now we're going to look at the period, the swell trains produced by all these systems I was just showing you. This little teeny fetch right here, well, that's that west-northwest that we saw today reach 2 to 3 plus. We did see the sea breeze pattern because the trades are cut. Recent stalled dissipating front near the Big Island, maintaining the cloudy wet conditions there on the east end of the state. Drier, lighter wind patterns are in place for Molokai to Kauai. Daytime sea breeze, yep, for sure. Isolated showers over interior sections, followed by the clearing during the night. And moisture near the Big Island is going to drift back towards the west Saturday and Sunday with a potent upper level low dropping over the state. To that, it's going to bring quite a bit of unstable conditions, the threat of heavy flooding, showers, thunderstorms, much of the state through President's Day. So here we are in the state of affairs here, and we're starting in that animation clicking. Here comes the next reinforcement for Saturday, 2 to 3 plus, and rolling out the animations even further on Sunday. That's that northwest swell. This is the one, longer period one here for Monday, Tuesday. As I said, that should get up to about 6 feet. There are 4 separate swell events in this 10-day forecast period. And then there's the really serious one with, I mean, some of those periods, upper regions of the swell of the period of the distribution of power in that guy are going to be, 25 seconds. Anyway, that's the one reaching us with the forerunners Tuesday, peaking Wednesday at probably about 10 feet. Could be bigger. There's about 15% of this that is shadowed. Anything behind the 295 gets shadowed by Niihau and Kauai. There's the last serious run of swell there. And then we're going to go pretty quiet. That last system that I was showing you, you can tell most of its energy heads up into the Pacific Northwest and the Gulf, and we'll be missing Hawaii to our northeast. Real quick, before we move on, I want to get into that shadowing. We've seen a lot of that this year, and you can see a lot of this fetch over here, which is below that. Some of this is 290 and even under on this really significant event marching our way. Then most of it will end up getting outside of that shadowed window relative to Hawaii. Here's that 298, the 292 right in here is where we need it to get past, and you can see plenty of this thing was right about here, 286 degrees, 292. We really like it to get out past 295. All right, taking a look at the South Pac. We're not going to be getting anything from this storm here. It's going the wrong way. There are some minor little weak storms popping up down under, but none of these are significant. The only significant storm is a Tasman sea swell, and that guy's right there. That'll do well for and Australia and some of New Zealand. But again, like these systems are sending off plenty off to South America. But for us, take a look. We might see a little bit from this guy here over the weekend, 12 to 14 seconds, but just a half a foot. It's just not enough wind speeds in it. This guy is coming up on Monday for some sideband swell and more of a south-southeast angled event. But again, sideband swell pushing out some more 14-second stuff around Monday the 19th through the 20th. Nothing much over 2 feet, 2 feet max. Continuing animations, there's the Tasman Sea source, and that's the last on these hindcast models. Bringing it current, rolling out the animation. Nothing really in terms of swell production for us. Some weird things going on. Late in the forecast on the 21st, we see something pop up which could lead to a half a foot of open ocean swell, 14-second south-southwest on March 2nd, if this guy pans out at all. As far as our weather goes, the Big Island is getting it. This is that former front, but they're still seeing plenty of rain and weather. That thing is actually going to drift back up. You can see where those storms are, where the high pressures are. A little popcorn areas where the higher winds from the clockwise higher going. Here's that blocking ridge to our northwest. Drilling down a little bit further, it makes what I was just describing a little clearer. You can see again that area of trophiness drifting back up this way. But there is an upper level low dropping over the state Saturday and Sunday. Highs are going to be, upper 70s, lows in the mid 60s. It's really the Southeast Islands, as I was explaining, getting the brunt. Kauai and Oahu, pretty good for now. We'll see what happens Sunday, Monday. The weather starts changing Saturday night. Here's the hand-drawn surface charts. The high pressure, its ridge over the islands, cutting the trades. Here's that trough from these associated lows. One of these is dropping down, creating the havoc this weekend. It will keep the sea breezes back on Sunday, Monday. Here's the next high moving into the area. Trades and nicer weather beginning Wednesday or Thursday, getting back into a little bit more normalcy. Here's the low for Monday, Tuesday's swell, and its associated front. It's a very interesting winter scenario right now. The water vapor loops are showing the upper regions are relatively stable. A few things firing off here in Puna, which has been verified. All this stuff down here at the intertropical convergence zone, where the trades from the north meet the trades from the south pack, pretty much stays put. But there's the blocking ridge, the storms bringing our waves from the upper regions all the way to the surface. As far as the rain goes, very clear who's getting the brunt of it, and it is, as I said, kind of moving back up our way. As the swells move down from the north pack, that's what we're mostly anticipating. And we'll finish up with windy.com. There's that big system for the big waves coming up. Had to show you this one. This is model showing from Saturday. Now we'll scoot these out a little bit further. You can see how that thing broadens. Some pretty powerful winds. And this is what it looks like on Sunday. We'll be getting some really nice waves from this system here. You can see that westerly angle. Interesting how the different models interpret that these are the surface winds. And that's your local swell tracker. Thanks for spending the time with me a week after President's Day with the next update. Mahalo.